now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. A man pushed his girlfriend in front of a moving subway train in Lower Manhattan, leading to her winding up getting her feet cut off.
To other news now, a woman had to have both of her feet amputated, police sources say, after she was pushed onto the subway tracks by her boyfriend and then struck by a train in Lower Manhattan. And tonight, the suspect is still not in custody. The 29-year-old woman was hit by a number 3 train at the Fulton Street subway station this morning, somehow managed to survive. She is now in stable condition at Bellevue Hospital.
Now, according to reports, a couple were having a heated argument as they were stepping on the platform of the Fulton Street 2 and 3 train station platform. And as they were having this heated argument going back and forth with each other, the man got so enraged at the woman, he wound up pushing her onto the train tracks of the Fulton Street station as a 3 train was bolting into the station. And sadly, as a result of this woman being hit by this 3 train, she wound up getting her feet severed, and as a result of the severity of her injuries, she had to have her feet amputated. Now, after participating in this horrific act of domestic violence, the man that this woman was involved with decided to flee the scene, and as he fled the scene, he is now being looked for by the police, who see him as a suspect in a possible attempted murder. Now, the NYPD here see this as a very horrific act of domestic violence and believe it's an isolated incident. But when I take a critical examination of this tragic incident of domestic violence that took place on that Fulton Street train track, I see it as another example of the pattern and profile of beta male behavior that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And it's clear to me that the male who allegedly pushed his girlfriend onto those train tracks, basically attempting to murder his girlfriend over this argument, was one of these beta males who clearly was not taught the male's life skill of having discipline or self-control to navigate through his emotions. Now, it's very important for a man to have self-control and be able to navigate through his emotions, because while people will go out here and say things to you in an argument to get you to push your buttons, to get you to react in a certain way, it's important for a man to maintain self-control, because if somebody can get you to react, that can get you to put yourself at risk and put the intangibles of manhood you have at risk overall. Because a man has to understand there are more important things than sating his feelings in an argument, because if a man goes out here looking to sate his feelings in an argument, he can wind up losing the most important intangible of his life, and that is his freedom. And a man has to understand that his freedom has a higher value than his pride, because what happens with a lot of beta males is that they get so caught up in their pride about winning an argument with a woman that they wind up putting their freedom at risk, like this individual wound up doing. And when it came to this beta male right here, I mean, on a Saturday morning, he's getting ready to go wherever he wants to go. And as he's getting into this argument with his girlfriend, he's not really thinking about the bigger picture of things as related to his intangibles of manhood, such as his dignity, his self-respect, his self-worth, and his freedom. No, he's basically caught up in his feelings about trying to win this argument with this woman he's involved with, and that's a major mistake that many beta males make, because beta males, because they're raised just by single mothers and raised to think and feel just like a female, what they do is think they can win an argument with a woman. But most men who are raised by fathers understand you're not going to win an argument with a woman, because women are emotional, and because women are emotional, that makes them the masters of oral combat. And since they are the masters of oral combat, they will just keep going back and forth with you. And what will happen to a man is he's going to get more frustrated and more angry, because the woman is just going to argue you in circles. And any smart man understands you're just not going to win an argument with a woman. So what they do to shut things down is either they just don't say anything else and let her get the last word, or what they do is just walk away from that woman, because they understand their intangibles of manhood are more important than trying to win an argument. They cannot win against a master of oral combat. Unfortunately, this guy on that Saturday morning didn't really get that memo as related to how to deal with this kind of situation. And as he was getting his buttons pushed by this woman in this heated argument, he let his emotions get the better of him. And as he let his emotions get the better of him, he wound up acting impulsively. And as he acted impulsively, what he did was shove this woman as this moving train was coming into the station, and that wound up leading to this woman almost losing her life and having her life forever changed, because she went from being a healthy woman with full mobility to becoming a woman with a disability, all because this male really didn't have good discipline or self-control. And as she was looking to try to win this argument, and this guy was looking to win the argument, sadly, both of them wound up losing. This woman sadly wound up losing both of her feet, and this man, if they ever do capture him, he's going to wind up possibly on the road to losing his freedom, because I guarantee you he's definitely going to be charged with first-degree assault and battery. He's going to be charged with domestic violence, and he's going to be charged definitely with attempted murder if Alvin Bragg has any backbone or stones. And this guy is going to go from a guy who was going somewhere with his girlfriend on the train to having a train ran on him by Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles in upstate New York if he's convicted. And they are basically going to be turning that tight end into a wide receiver as they trade him for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, Oreo off-brand cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers, off-brand chocolate chip cookies, off-brand fudge stripe cookies, packets of snack pack pudding, Fritos chips, little ramen noodles again, hot and sour style, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies, and all of the items of the commissary such as David's sunflower seeds and pretzels and other assorted items. Basically, this man will wind up losing his dignity in this penitentiary as they wind up spit roasting him, and Mr. Sprinkles sprays the special sauce all over his front side and his backside, making his backside look like the inside of a glazed donut. I mean, this is the final fate that's going to happen to this male, because he didn't have the discipline or self-control to say, hey, if this woman wants to keep arguing with me, what I'm going to do is just realize that this relationship ain't going to work and charge that woman straight to the game. That's what a man would do if he's in a situation with a woman and she's wanting to be loud and argumentative. He's going to realize that you're not going to win any arguments with this woman if she's all emotional like this. And do everything to shut it down. And after he shuts it down and he gets wherever he needs to go with this woman, if he has to go home, what he's going to do is cut ties with that woman and keep the most important intangible of his life, and that intangible is his freedom. That is the thing that most men will make an effort to preserve, because they understand that their freedom is essential for their survival. Unfortunately, this guy didn't understand this and basically created an incident that basically showed how bad things are in the New York City subway system. And it didn't matter that New York Governor Kathy Hochul went out here and brought the National Guard into the subway to make the subway safer, because one of the reasons why you have all of the crime in the New York City subways is because you have these 2 to 3 generations of beta males, and these beta males, they are not really caring about anything as related to authority, because these men don't respect male authority, and they don't really care about anything, because these men just are only thing they care about are their feelings and sating their feelings. And this is why you see so much subway crime, because these beta males basically act on their impulses, and as they act on their impulses, they never really think about the consequences of their actions. And that was shown to me with the way this guy basically behaved, and it showed that it didn't matter if you brought in military-style individuals like the National Guard into the subway system. One of the ways you're not going to, the reason why it's not going to work is because we have all these beta males basically just having no locus of self-control to understand. Just stop arguing with a woman, walk away from that woman, and charge her to the game, and keep your freedom. And that's what this guy didn't understand. And the other part of this whole situation is that this whole effort to try to bring in the National Guard into the subways isn't working, because we have another isolated incident of a person just completely out of control on the subways. And that just proves my point about how much worse the man crisis is getting, because the man crisis in this country is getting worse because of the complete implosion of the American family, because of feminist policies as related to parenting that nobody wants to talk about, and nobody wants to talk about it, but what they want to do is try to overcompensate by saying, hey, we'll put all these National Guardsmen to stop crime. But there's no stopping crime when you have this 2 to 3 generations of beta males who are landmines, and these men just do not have any discipline or self-control, because they were never taught this by their fathers. Because any smart man in that same situation, if he's dealing with an argumentative woman, what he's going to do is just go and just let that woman go where she want to go. He goes where he needs to go and leaves her to herself, because that's how he keeps his freedom. But when you have a bumper crop of males who have been turned into landmines, what happens is you get all of these incidents that people really can't see the pattern of as related to the man crisis here in New York City, because the reason why you see a lot of this out of control behavior on the subways is because we've got this bumper crop of beta males who were never taught about male authority, never taught to respect boundaries, never even taught to think about their own freedom or safety. No, everything is about their feelings and sating their feelings. And because this man wanted to sate his feelings, sadly, a woman who was perfectly able and perfectly healthy now has become physically disabled, and that's all because she was dealing with a man who she didn't know had all of the pattern and profile of a man in crisis. Now, if you want to learn what leads to males like this participating in their impulsive and violent behavior, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you want to see me make more videos about the man crisis, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.